Okay, in today's demonstration, I am going to show you how to create a layered painting with collage material. And I said I was going to do that landscape or the horizontal composition. So I have 3 small canvases here I've put next to each other. And instead of using a black charcoal pencil, I thought, I'm going to use this red one for a change because I think it goes nicely with, I'm going to use this color palette that I mixed last week, which is the Naples yellow and the manganese blue. Okay, so I'm just going to go across. Well, it's kind of hard to see. Let me go darker. So I'm doing lines across, horizon line, slight angle. Okay, then I'm going to glue down some collage material, and I am going to start with old book pages and fill in some of these spaces. And I'm not going to get fussy like making a pattern to get the shape exact. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so. And the old book pages are great because it's easy to rip that paper because it's old. And I will glue this down with Mod Podge. So as I'm painting this, I'm going to treat this, I will separate this at some point, but I'm going to work all of these together, kind of treat it as a whole. But what I'm going to be looking for is that each painting, if I took it away from the other, it should operate on its own, hopefully. Okay, I think I'm going to just glue that down. There's going to be more collage material towards the end. Okay.
Laura, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
It's Michelle.
Yes.
First question is, what size are those canvases? And the second question is, did you do any gesso on them first?
No, they came like this in a little pack from Michael's craft store. And I just didn't, I don't know, I was just done with the Bristol board. I thought I want to go to actual canvas, and I had these, and I don't know what these are, 4x5. It's kind of a little bit bigger than postcard. And I did not pre-gesso. They came gessoed.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Good, thanks.
Yeah. And normally I don't, normally I'm pushing people to work a little bit bigger, but I think this is going to be, I think it's going to be kind of cool going this small. Okay. And whatever brush you use for the Mod Podge, you probably want to pick one you don't care about. It doesn't seem to matter how much I wash them, they get destroyed. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to put my sandwich paper on top, and I'm going to scrape so that I get a good seal. I don't have any bubbles going on, because those of you that know me know I can't stand bubbles. Oh, oops, oh dear. Wow. Sometimes you make a mistake and it takes you somewhere or not. So let's see what happens. Okay, that little rip, I'm just going to put it back. Okay, in an ideal world, I would wait for that to dry, but we don't have time. So now I'm going to put a wash on here, and I'm going to use, it's a golden fluid acrylic, highly pigmented but transparent. And my reason for picking it is I'm going to go over these pieces here and just it'll add a color to those book pages. So I'm going to put that on the palette, add some water to thin it, and I'm going to use this big wash brush that I got at the hardware store that I've recommended to people. It's got a flexible handle. Okay, so I mixed it off to the side, and I'm going to go across kind of quickly. I don't want to get really fussy, like I have to cover every white spot. As a matter of fact, I think I want some of those white spots showing through. Okay. All right. Happy with that.
Laura, is that acrylic mixed with water?
Yes. So I took that fluid acrylic and I thinned it down with some water. Okay. All right. Now what am I doing? Okay, so here comes my paint over here. I mixed some of those colors from my palette. I didn't mix them all. And now I'm going to start painting in certain sections. Actually, first I want to see some of these lines a little bit more. And what's nice about the charcoal pencil, like if I'm going on the wet paint here, it blends and it becomes a paint. So I just diverged there. Wasn't going to do that, but now I'm doing that. Okay, I'm going to put in some smaller shapes. Sometimes you have a plan and then you head in a different direction. Okay, so the charcoal pencils are fun because mixed with water it becomes a paint. Okay, and then putting the wash on from the beginning, from the get-go is good because it's a way of integrating this collage material. Usually people put collage material down and then you get nervous, like, I can't paint on top of it. Okay. I'm going to do another wash of this manganese. And when I go over the yellow, it becomes a little bit green. Now I'm going to go a little bit thicker with this paint. I'm just going to go straight. Straight on there. This is dry brush. So I'm trying to overlap some of that text a little bit so it appears embedded. So overlapping here so it appears embedded, and then in some areas, like I like this nice hard edge here, probably leave that alone. Okay. Now this blue up here is too similar to this green, so I'm going to come back with thicker manganese blue. It's pretty wet right now, so, and this paint already runs kind of transparent. Okay, let's see. Okay, I like that red line in between. It's a nice thin contrast to the chunkier stuff. All right, let's see. Now, so I started with a limited color palette, but at a certain point, you might want a little more pop. So I'm thinking some red is going to come in there. In a minute, let's see. Okay, now maybe it's time for red. No, I'm going to go back to collage. Okay, so for my collage, I thought I'd pick some gold, maybe some thin strips of gold. This is kind of exciting, so I'm going to cut some pieces out and see where they might want to land. Yep, that color goes perfectly, and it seems to go right there. And let's see, I just put that down. I will come back and glue it. Maybe there, and then you don't go, you don't get to be there. I'm going to put one right up there in that corner. Okay, so I did that. I'm going to flip it around at the end so you can see what I'm seeing, that my eye travels, boom, 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 right over there. So, and then I'm going to get this gold, which is a cooler gold, but I'm going to go thin, super thin with it. Okay. So I haven't glued anything down yet. I'm just laying it out. Cut some more thin strips here. Sorry about the delay. It's taking me a little bit to cut this here. Okay. It's a little thicker than I want. Okay, that there. Now, part of integrating means I am going to cut this, but in order for all three to hang together, this could cross over. Okay, then that there or that there. All right, that's going to go there. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this down. And then I'll come in, I think, with my red. Maybe we'll vote on that. And this can get kind of persnickety. If you have a small pair of tweezers, sometimes that's useful for picking up collage pieces so you don't get your hand in the paint. I think someone's unmuted there. Okay, now this is weird because ideally this would be dry. I'm mixing Mod Podge and paint at the same time, but oh, come on. All right, so that's there. All right, so now I'd probably come in and do finishing. Did I get that one? No, I missed these. Okay. But the paint acts sort of like a glue too. This is already sticking down to the paint. Okay. All right, now maybe the red. Let's see. First, a little bit more of that. Doing a little dry brushing here because these blues look so similar. Okay. If anybody wants to give feedback on something they would add, I'm totally open. Okay, I'm going to turn it around so you can see it from my perspective. So that's what I was seeing. It's a bit of a landscape. Now, I have these taped on the bottom. If I separate them slightly, one thing I could do is look at each one separately and analyze, like, okay, does this all hang together? Does this all hang together? So separate compositions, but it's a, it's a triptych. I think this one needs a little something more, kind of like this one, just the way it is. Oops, but that's where I would take a break, let things dry so I don't do what I just did there, and then see if I want to add any more layers.